This episode, it's our special edition, Cruising at Christmas. We'll take you aboard one of the most iconic cruise lines in the world. We show you exactly what it's like to step aboard a ship at this festive time of year, where every corner twinkles, the decorations shimmer, and holiday cheer fills the air. It's just like stepping into a living, breathing Christmas card. And as it's a special Christmas market cruise, we'll be dropping into some of the prettiest towns you can imagine. We'll be drinking mulled wine, visiting gorgeous markets, and getting thoroughly swept up in the atmosphere. Join us aboard as we show you Cruising at Christmas. Welcome back to the Ritzy Travel Guide. My name is Bill, and it's absolutely wonderful to have you with us for this special festive edition. For many travellers, cruising at Christmas is a true bucket list experience. Well, we're here to give you a delightful glimpse into a Christmas cruise and show you exactly what makes it so special. From the beautiful decorations that transforms these ships into floating winter wonderlands, to the onboard activities you can look forward to. And then there's the big question, where should you go for a Christmas cruise? Because obviously you've got two main options. Firstly, if you like warmth, you could go to a Caribbean Christmas destination, or perhaps the Canary Islands, Asia or Australasia. And we've done that on a few occasions. But for something truly authentic, with a hint of frost in the air, you'll want to look at Northern Europe. This is where Christmas comes alive in the most magical way. And who are we cruising with on this particular edition? Well, a cruise line that's perhaps the most synonymous with celebrating Christmas, and that's Cunard and their newly released ship, the Queen Anne. Only 8 months old, it was launched to great fanfare in May 2024 and positions itself as the future for Cunard. And we chose the Queen Anne for this Christmas cruise as it was offering a really appealing itinerary. Starting in England, it whisks you away to the fabulous Christmas markets of Northern Europe, visiting festive hotspots in France, Belgium, Holland and Germany. But it wasn't the first time we'd been on the Queen Anne. We were on this exact ship 4 months earlier, going on a cruise around the gorgeous Norwegian fjords. The setting and the ports of call there were fantastic. Do go to the fjords if you haven't already. So, why were we back on the Queen Anne again so soon? Firstly, because Cunard does Christmas so well, and secondly, to see how the ship was progressing. We'll take you around the shows and the facilities, we'll see how the restaurants are doing, and of course we'll do a whole raft of food tasting. So sit back in a comfy chair, grab yourself a hot chocolate, or perhaps a mulled wine if you want something alcoholic, as we take you into the magic of cruising at Christmas. So here we go, it's Embarkation Day, a crisp morning in mid-December as we arrived at Southampton on the English south coast.
Are we ready for a festive cruise?
I think this time you'll see lots of bread on board, but it's festive bread.
Christmas trees everywhere, I can practically smell the mulled wine from here.
And the gingerbread.
Can't quite hear Christmas carols from here, but I'm imagining I can.
Would the Queen Anne look beautifully decorated? We held our breath. Well, as it turned out, we needn't have been anxious at all. The ship was looking gorgeous. You couldn't get any more festive. As we took our first few steps around the main sections of the ship, it was dazzling, sparkling, and twinkling all at once. You can't help but have a smile. And then here in the grand lobby, looking absolutely resplendent. The Christmas village set up the base of the sweeping staircase. Here there was a gingerbread model of the Queen Anne ship itself. As you look around, you feel like you've been transported back in times to Dickens or a Victorian village scene. The decorating team did a fantastic job. Certain cruise lines really make an effort at Christmas, and Cunard is one of them. And it is really important, if you're on a cold climate cruise, that the interior looks amazing, because you're really not going to be out on deck as much. Before we head to dinner, a quick look at the cabin, so you can see what a Cunard Queen Anne balcony looks like. Well, dark blue, with gold piping is the answer. This is a Britannia class balcony, one of the most popular on the ship. A lot of people go for this one. Personally, we like the colour scheme, looks very traditional. And Cunard still gives a bottle of sparkling wine to each incoming passenger. Smallish bottle, yes, but it gets the sail away off to a nice start. So, no complaints for the cabin, works well, reasonable layout. With that, off to the Britannia dining room. Again, decorated beautifully. On Cunard, your cabin grade determines which dining room you get allocated. We'll show you a variety of the dinners that we ate here over the course of this video, and this one is a typical one. Dining room is looking very festive. Christmas trees and poinsettias all over the place.
And what have you got tonight? What's on your dinner plate?
Duck. And I think it's beautifully presented. Look at that. Potato gratin, which I think they have layered. It's a plastic.
Yes. Oh, hang on. Here comes mine. What have we got here? Pork belly. Look at that. There's no calories in that, are there?
100% no, sir.
100% no.
Unguaranteed.
Look at that. Look at the rind. Look at the crust on that.
Our son and daughter were joining us for the cruise, so there will be 4 of us on this journey.
Oh, lashings of gravy. Can never be too much gravy. Pork belly is really good. Just the right crispy texture on the outside and juicy in the centre. Feel completely guilty, but for a few seconds. That's a good-looking meal.
And after dinner, it was time for a stroll around the ship. First stop, the Queen's Room. This is the ballroom on all the Cunard ships, and the drinks were clearly already flowing, conga in action. It's always a great place to sit for a while, the Queen's Room, and watch the activities. Entertainment there can range from serious ballroom to soul and disco. This Queen's Room has come in for quite a bit of criticism on the Queen Anne, as it's smaller than on the other Cunard ships, and we'll give you our opinion at the end. For now, everyone was in party mode. Time for a visit to the onboard theatre, and there was a really spirited violin performance going on from Annalisa Ching. Smart move to play some really rousing traditional British music. Everything from Land of Hope and Glory to Rule Britannia. By then it was close to midnight, but I was intrigued to see how the Christmas decorations looked in the other restaurants, so we headed up to the buffet. On Queen Anne, it's called the Artisans Food Hall. Yet again, well done to the ship's decorations team. A really beautiful gingerbread town and village display. I wasn't supposed to eat anything, but then got sidetracked.
Ooh, hang on, I wasn't supposed to eat very much, but cheese, balls of Stilton, and other goodies. Right, let's see if I can sneak this past my wife. She's gone on the hunt for fruit. You see, look, there we are. Fruit on there. You see, I've partially passed the test. She won't say anything, surely I'll get away with that one. Okay, now, remember gang, this is healthy. Fruit foremost there on that plate. I've got some fruit.
Okay. Midnight.
Yes, see, look. Well, okay. By accident, that's some cheese on there, but we got some chutney, we got some nuts, we got some strawberries, and we've got some prunes. Yes.
Quite a nice looking platter.
Yes, there we are.
And you have danced a fair bit, so.
Yes, I think I've earned that one. Yes, what's that I hear? It's a pat on the back for me, isn't it?
It was the perfect accompaniment before bedtime as we sailed into the night on a cool, crisp December evening. Blue cheese coursing through my veins. The next morning I woke early, probably because of the cheese, but also because the Cunard daily schedule they'd popped under the door was full of promise and festive activities. I fair leapt out of bed at the prospect. Well, it was a typical British summer day. Sorry, December day. But cruisers are hardy folk. Damp, cold mist isn't a deterrent for some. Absolute kudos for this passenger who was outside in the hot tub at 7:15 a.m. as a blizzard practically swept across the deck. I admire that sort of spirit. You aren't going to get me in there, but I admired it in someone else nonetheless. And we had a feature-packed day to rush towards. There was going to be a pop-up Christmas market with lots of light bites and nibbles. We were going to have afternoon tea in the Queen's Room, and then a show at the Bright Light Society. Our heads would be practically spinning with all of these activities. But before all of that, we trooped down to the Britannia dining room for breakfast. I have to say that in the morning light, it was all looking very pretty. My wife suggested that we should have a healthy breakfast. Let's see how that went.
Breakfast time. The table's looking so beautifully decorated. We've got poinsettias almost at every single place setting. Now, we pretty much know what I'm going to eat, don't we? It's going to be an Eggs Benedict. Got to be tried, really. Look at that.
Look at that, yum yum.
Perfect. Yum, yum indeed. Right. Okay, let's do the ooze test. We're all leaning forward in anticipation. That is eye candy, isn't it?
Would you like some salmon?
Well, why not, seeing as you have a complete counterload of smoked salmon there? I think they must have had an extra consignment of smoked salmon. Wow. We're a smoked salmon shop this morning.
This is my breakfast. And that is Bill's. Have you got enough breakfast this morning?
It's absolute triumph for breakfast, isn't it? Look at that, you see? Just to keep the wolf from the door, just to keep us going till 11's is, to make sure we're going out into the cold, crisp air. We need fortitude and something meaningful to keep us going. I don't think I've ever seen so much smoked salmon at one time on a Cunard ship.
So, one full English breakfast later, I was on my way to the theatre for an inside talk, and as I was breezing through the atrium, I noticed people milling around a pop-up Christmas market. And God help us, they were serving more food.
There's a pop-up Christmas event.
Culinary spread.
Wow, look at that for the big old. We've got some turkey sausage roll. I didn't really have a full English breakfast this morning, isn't it?
A taste of Christmas.
It is, look at that.
A surprise.
Yes. I would like very much one of these things in Christmas cakes. That's amazing.
Look at that.
Look at that. Doesn't that look festive?
With a bit of marzipan on top.
Thank you very much. And then...
Gingerbread.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Look at those donuts.
Oh, I see. No, I think that's probably enough there. Who needs to go to watercolour class when I've made a work of art on my plate?
I don't think we need afternoon tea.
No, look at that.
We're supposed to go on an insights talk. But Bill has not gone for an insights talk. Instead, he has detoured because he found the Christmas special.
Well, I was on the way to the inside talk and I just happened to see this pop-up stall. I tell you what, this Christmas cake is an absolute triumph. Just the right combination of gooiness, sweetness, savouriness. Hits the spot. Can't starve in the meantime. Look, that's Christmas on a plate, isn't it?
Are you going to go for your talk now?
I didn't. I had one last peruse of the delicious Christmas tray of snacks that they continue to bring out for the next hour or so. The smell was intoxicating. It would have tested the resistance and willpower of a saint. Then I had a quick look at the merch they were bringing out for the Masquerade ball that was happening later on, and then decided I need to go for some exercise to burn off that sausage roll and cake. Gave half a thought to the dance class that was going on in the Queen's room, but it was already underway. So decided on a deck walk.
So, what am I doing? I'm bracing the cold weather outside. Why? Because I've eaten way too much, thousands and thousands of calories, and one thing you can do to sort of partially rectify the situation is to take a bracing, with a capital B, bracing walk out in near zero conditions to try and trim that waistline immediately in time for a gala dinner. I'd like to say there's a view on the promenade deck, but there isn't, but that's another story. Well, it's a story we sort of covered last time we were on the Queen Anne. There isn't really much of a view, but never mind. We're here to burn off those calories. We'll imagine there's a fantastic view there. Lifeboats, but we'll imagine. Ooh, it'd be getting quite rough out there. Did I say how bracing it is out here today? It's really very bracing. Never mind. Back to our walk. We're here to do some serious exercise. Why is my wife never here to witness when I'm doing such things?
Yes, why does Mrs. Ritzy never spot me doing these highly athletic activities? By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please do give it a like, a thumbs up, as it lets us know we're on the right track, and we'll try to put out more of this type of material. Still to come in this video, we have some Christmas markets to show you, and there are some stunners. You'll want to see those. But first, we had afternoon tea to enjoy. We clearly hadn't eaten enough food that day, and it was a tea dance. If you haven't been on a Cunard cruise, afternoon tea is one of the absolute highlights. At precisely 3 o'clock on the dot, the waiters parade out in the Queen's room with their silver trays and white gloves. It's a very elaborate and orchestrated affair, and incredibly popular. Everyone gets into the swing, but you've got to get there at least 45 minutes beforehand, or there will be no space at the inn. You're probably not even hungry as you sit there, but you absolutely go for the spectacle and atmosphere. There are some things Cunard does well, and this is absolutely one of them. And it's included in the cruise fare, it's not an additional cost item. Over the course of 45 minutes, a variety of sweet and savoury delights are brought out, as well as copious amounts of tea from that huge pot. All the while, dancing going on in the background.
Live jazz music, tea dance. Afternoon tea on a Cunard is an event.
It is, isn't it?
Yes, it's an event.
Even if you're not hungry, you have to come and be here and soak up the atmosphere.
It's not just about the food, it's about being here and witness this.
Here we go, round one, a tray of sandwiches. Of course, crusts cut off, how else? And some dainty rolls.
We have cucumber sandwich, ham, cheese sandwich, chicken corona, and then smoked salmon.
And then you keep sampling and eating until basically, well, you pop.
Well, I'm going to be very tempted by quite a lot. Okay, and okay, you got profiterole? What is it?
Cherry almond cake, apple caramel berry.
But afternoon tea is a real highlight, especially when it's a sea day with no port or town to visit, and you have all of the time in the world. Consider it one of life's little guilty pleasures. By the way, Ritzy Travel Guide is on Instagram and Facebook. If you enjoy following us around in real time, in between filming for YouTube, you can follow us on both of these. You'll see what we get up to, the countries we visit, and behind the scenes. The channel name is the same as here, Ritzy Travel Guide. There is the link up at the top, and I'll also put the address in the description box for this video. So follow along with us on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll see you in those. Time to clear the Queen's Room because Gala night is about to get underway. One that really everybody looks forward to, the Masquerade Ball. Always one of the most enjoyable aspects of any cruise, particularly if you're with Cunard, as it gives you a chance to dress up. Here we go in the Grand Lobby. There are generally 2 gala nights per week with Cunard, and the majority of passengers do embrace the opportunity to put on their finest. And at Christmas, when all the decorations are up, it's the perfect opportunity to snap away and get that family photo to remember it all by. The professional photographers are out, but you can take your own, and there are several great spots around the ship to give you that backdrop to enhance it all. We're going to show you action from the 2 gala nights this cruise. First off, let's start with the evening themed as a masquerade ball, where you get the chance to dress up in a mask. We started off outside the Golden Lion pub, posed in a variety of ways, then headed off to the Grand Lobby, which always has a great backdrop, and then into the chart room, which is the perfect bling-bling destination to photograph yourself. It's upholstered, veloured, chandeliered, and velveted to within an inch of its life. Perfect place to perch and pose. And then off to dinner. It's a great walk to the restaurant. There's always lots of buzz in the public areas on a gala night. Then into the Britannia dining room. The Britannia dining room is one of our absolute favourite times of the cruise. The atmosphere is lovely, especially at Christmas, when it really glitters and it's all sparkling. The first gala night, Cunard always gives a round of complimentary bubbles. And you can, of course, bring the bottle from your room to add to the proceedings. The more the merrier.
Cheers. Thank you. I must say it's an extremely good menu tonight, isn't it?
There's lots of interesting things on offer.
Yes, I think I could order about 5. The shellfish beast even has some cognac in it, drizzled lovingly in there. Beautiful.
And there's baked Alaska.
There is baked Alaska. And we've got trout on the menu tonight.
So I got the beef. So.
And seafood in a tarragon sauce. Doesn't that look good? I'm glad I ordered that one.
It's the look of a happy camper.
A very happy camper. That is delicious. It's creamy. It's got bacon. It's got seafood. It's got tarragon. Absolutely delicious. Just the right balance of guilt and taste. Chateaubriand, isn't that nice? Whenever I see that on the menu, I always try to order it. Here we are. Sticky toffee pudding. What's not to like? Coffee and sticky toffee pudding. Petit fours on the way. It's always a great way to end a Cunard meal.
We then sauntered to the Queen's Room. During our cruise, we had Black and White Night and the Masquerade Ball. Cunarders do like to embrace these themes, and almost everyone joins in. It's the perfect venue to while away an hour or two with some drinks and catch up with friends. You could imagine it's you on Strictly or Dancing with the Stars as you sashay your way around the dance floor. The gala nights are Cunard at their best. And the dancing does go into the wee hours. And on that evening, it was way into the night as my wife spotted there was a silent disco on. These are always popular, and Mrs. Ritzy does like her dancing. And it was way after midnight that we hit our pillow. About to take you to the first of the beautiful Christmas markets we visited on this cruise, but just before that, a little heads up what's coming to our channel in the next coming weeks and months. First, as long promised, we'll be putting out a Cunard comparison video. Cunard now has 4 ships, the Queen Mary II, the Victoria, Elizabeth, and the new Queen Anne. We'll be putting them head to head and giving you our opinion on the features we like, what are the pros and cons of each, the options for dining that are on some but not others, differences with the cabins, and the bars and the venues. And ultimately, which of those 4 we think comes out on top. You'll want to see that, it will be absolutely fascinating. After that, we bring out a brand new series about Holland America. This is the cruise line that's often considered a natural competitor or alternative to Cunard. We were just aboard the Rotterdam, that is the Holland America flagship. We were on a 12-nighter through the Panama Canal. We'll show you that and give you our opinion on the Holland America experience. Interestingly, there are a lot of similarities between the Rotterdam and the new Cunard Queen Anne, as they are effectively the same ship, what's called the Pinnacle class. They have the same hull, superstructure, and almost identical layouts. By going on both ships within just a matter of weeks of each other, it gave us an excellent opportunity to directly compare Cunard against Holland America. Look out for that, coming soon. Remember to be subscribed to our channel so you know when that video series arrives. Subscription is free, it doesn't cost anything, but just lets you know when those videos are ready. Right, one of the real attractions of cruising in December is to visit some of the beautiful Christmas markets. On this particular cruise, we visited 4, but I'm going to show you 2 of them, the ones I think you'll really love to see. So let's show you the first of these 2, and that was to the beautiful Bruges in Belgium. And welcome to Zeebrugge. It's the gateway to Bruges. It's about 6:30 in the morning, crisp winter's day. How about that for a sunrise? Isn't that absolutely beautiful? Really looking forward to our day today. Bruges is always one of the highlights of any cruise, and there should be a beautiful Christmas market. It's mornings like this that to me make cruising so worthwhile. Almost nobody up, just us, the ship, and the sunrise. Now, Bruges is just a little bit away from where you dock, and in a minute I'll tell you how to get in. But first, to the centre. The historic Bruges is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, listed as of outstanding value, dating back to medieval times, and is well preserved. Walking down its cobbled streets is like a trip back in time. The entire town is pedestrianised, so it's easy to explore on foot. There is something pretty to photograph around every corner, and it's on canals, which really adds to the attraction. It's a mini Amsterdam, or a Venice of the North. Oh look, it's Rudolph the horse. Bruges, in fact all of Belgium, is also really known for its chocolate, and along the streets you'll be tempted into any number of delightful looking shops, all beckon you in with that gorgeous aroma. Immediately drawn in, chocolate factory. Belgian quality, nothing else. Those windows, they're so beautiful. I mean, every window has been beautifully decorated. Ooh, waffles on a stick. Oh dear viewer, if only there was smell-o-vision.
you would get the aroma that's coming out of that window. It's a window of magic. It's a window of senses.
We've been to Bruges at various times of the year, and it looks gorgeous no matter which month you come, but especially so in December, when the decorations go up and it looks even more stunning. And it didn't take long before we were tempted in for a snack. First off, for Belgian waffles.
Right, well, when in Belgium, you must try some waffles. It's just a matter of which one. They all look good. Well, I was initially thinking of that one, but we've gone for Belgian chocolate. Look at that. Now to pimp it out with toppings. Look at that. Go for the toppings, they're the best part.
So much chocolate, you can't see the waffle.
Yum.
Right, we still hadn't got to the Christmas market itself, which was right in the centre of town. Take your time to slowly amble up the streets to the centre. There's a lot to see, eat and drink. There are 2 markets in town, very close to each other. A good place to start is at Winter Glow. There's a lot of stalls selling everything from Christmas decorations, clothing, woodwork, candles, local food including chocolate and glühwein, which is mulled wine. Along every street you'll see these horse-drawn carriages and twinkling lights. The Christmas markets in Bruges are open every year, starting from approximately November the 22nd and go right through to about January the 5th. And the markets are open every day during this time, starting at about 10:30. After walking around for a few hours, you'll probably want to sit down and watch the world go by. And there are several restaurants and bars around the market square, all beautifully lit and so inviting. After that, you could take a horse and carriage around. Prices are set by the city. And as at the time of recording this, it's €70 per half hour per carriage for up to 5 people. By 3 o'clock, we were starting to feel a bit peckish, so stopped by one of our all-time favourite cafes in Bruges, and that's called Au de Fred. It's just a stone's throw from the centre at Le Grand Place.
I feel we need a little break, a little cup of hot chocolate or coffee, maybe some snacks. Some brioche buns, some speculoos or something like that.
And it's in a glorious setting. The moment you step in, you see this dazzling grand chandelier. You can see it from miles off from outside. And the cakes and pastries are all made on site. They're also famous for their indulgent hot chocolate. So we proceeded to order one straight away.
Follow those carbs, follow that sugar, follow that butter. Beautiful setting, right by the chandelier. Christmas market's outside. What do we have here? Look at this. This is the speciality here. It's a brioche bun with 2 delightful looking chocolate temptations. We've got a speculoos, which is cinnamon shortbread, and then we've got chocolate. Don't they look beautiful? Brioche bun full of butter, sugar, and yumminess. Look at that. A macchiato latte and a hot chocolate with Belgian chocolate.
It's a lovely way to spend an hour or so. Relax and take it all in. If you get a chance to drop into Au de Fred, we'd recommend it. Beautiful interiors, just off the market square. We could have happily ordered half the menu.
That is the place to go.
It is the place to go, isn't it?
Yeah.
Beautiful hot chocolate.
But it's not for one for counting calories, but if you have to commit a sin, that's the place to do it.
It is, absolutely. The House of Sin, Happy Sin. As the sun starts to set and the lights come on, it gets even more pretty. Try to get a cruise that's here until at least the late afternoon or early evening, so you can see the lights come on at night.
At night, it transforms. It's into a completely different
It is, isn't it? If
winter wonderland. And it's absolutely magical.
It is, isn't it? I tell you what one absolutely needs at these Christmas markets. A glass of warm glühwein to get into the festive Christmassy spirit. Yes, how do you say cheers?
Yes, gezondheid.
Santé.
Is santé of gezondheid. Voilà.
As the sun sets, the pretty lights come on behind the town square. And some glühwein, a Christmas in Bruges. It's quite intoxicating. The warm alcohol coursing through your veins. You get quite giddy quite quickly after your second or third glass of Glühwein.
And with that, we made our way back through Bruges to the ship. The city at night is so pretty, so enchanting, and it's all largely as it was hundreds of years ago, and you can't say that about many places these days. Bruges is rightly a top 10 European cruise destination. It's beautiful at any time of the year, but especially so at Christmas time. If you have the opportunity to go, I would absolutely urge you to do so. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that you don't actually dock at Bruges, but in the nearby port of Zeebrugge. Now, how do you get in? You'll need reliable transport to get there. You could take a ship tour, but they tend to be pretty pricey. On the last 3 occasions we visited Bruges, we booked with an independent tour company. I've put a link down in the description. As we film this, the cost is €20 per person for the return, and we think they did a really good job. One of the really fun evenings on Queen Anne, in fact, unique to that ship, not on any of the other Cunard ships, is the venue that's called the Bright Light Society. Throughout the cruise, twice a night they put on an interactive show. It's in a lovely, intimate venue. We went twice during this cruise. The first time was to see the show Noir, which we'd actually seen before, but it was so good we were really keen to see it again. It's an intimate cabaret lounge setting and takes you back to a fictional bar in the 1920s and invites you to take part in a murder mystery. It's a bit of an Agatha Christie-style whodunit.
That is what we're going to see tonight, Noir.
Before the show starts, the cast members mingle amongst you, looking for candidates to play minor roles in the production. Those in the know will willingly jump out of their chair and volunteer, or they could breeze up to you and encourage you to try your hand. It's all very light-hearted and a lot of fun. And soon the show begins with loads of energy that never lets up. I won't spoil the plot, but as you can imagine, in a whodunit, a murder, or in this case, a poisoning takes place, and then the rest of the evening is a case of working out who is the culprit. For me, what makes the evening enjoyable is that the cast throughout is strolling past the audience, interacting, and you really feel immersed and part of it all. It's all very close up. There's no bad seat here. I think a lot of other theatrical venues could copy this concept. Throughout, there's dancing and a lot of sing-songs and plain old joining in. No, it's not Shakespeare, it's not Dickens, but it's a huge amount of fun, and we'd encourage you to go. Now, there are 2 completely different shows in the Bright Lights. The other one's called Fizz. This time we're transported to a high-end nightclub. Again, full of shenanigans and equally outrageous costumes.
Wow, look at you!
Good to see you.
Look at you!
Hello, darling. Good to see you. Hello, hello.
Hold
Go on, darling. You come here. You have that move there, all right?
What's this room here?
Go on. When you get settled, darling, give
Your
those headphones a
jacket,
listen.
look at that.
Right?
Yes.
Lovely to see you, darling. Lovely to see you, darling.
Lovely to see you.
Looking glamorous as ever.
What are their titles, darling?
You're such a tease.
Thank you so much.
Behave.
No.
Keep your clothes on for now. For now.
Fizz has overtones of the show Cabaret. Pop opera, dancing, and completely over-the-top tomfoolery. There's not really any plot or storylines to follow. It's about letting your hair down and going with the flow. Join in as much or as little as you would like. It's incredibly popular and gets booked. Bright Lights is such a lot of fun. We really would urge you to go, but this is important. You must book it the moment you get onto the ship. You can't book it in advance, but the moment you get onto the ship, day 1, go and book it. Both shows, they're both a lot of fun, because if you don't book, there's practically no chance to get in. Right, the next morning we had arrived in Hamburg. Famous across the whole of Europe for its amazing Christmas markets. They don't have one, they don't have two, in fact they have over 20 Christmas markets dotted around the city. Here we go, lovely crisp morning. Now, Hamburg port is outside the city, so you will need a transfer in. Most cruise lines offer one, and you'll need to take it. And this is by far the best place to start, as it's the main Christmas market right in the centre by the Rathaus. Yes, I said that correctly. Rathaus means town hall or civic centre in German. There's a lot to see here, so apportion your time. It opens at 11 a.m. in the morning, so no point getting there before that. Careful, as that catches a lot of people out. The best way to approach the market is to start one side and work your way across. There's loads of log cabins and all types of stalls, selling everything that you can imagine. And a flying Santa spectacle that appears every few hours starting at 4 p.m. We'll come back to that one in a minute. I tell you what we saw most of, and that's the Glühwein stalls, that mulled wine favourite that we saw in Belgium. It's here in Hamburg in 10 times the numbers. It's the first set of stalls that opens in the morning and the last one that closes at night. The bright colours all beckon you in. We decided to split our day in half, see the markets at around lunchtime, and come back at sunset to see everything in a different light, and it's a good strategy.
Are those chocolate marshmallows? Oh my god, look at that. Oh, look, it's saying eat me, eat me. It had to be bought, really, didn't it? It's just all things yummy.
By mid-afternoon, we needed a bit of warming up, and thanks to a fabulous tip from a subscriber, we headed for one of the most famous cafes in Hamburg called Café Paris. I know it doesn't sound very German, but it's a fantastic establishment and it's very historic.
Well, we've been pacing the streets, the Christmas markets, time for a warming cup of hot chocolate. It's very nice, isn't
The
it?
best thing about walking into this cafe, other than the beautiful ceiling, is the heat.
Beautifully warm in here.
You know it's popular when every single seat is taken.
Yes.
Time to try their famous hot chocolate with a twist. Now, this hot chocolate is decadent and alcoholic.
That's the alcoholic one. Look at that. This is a remumba, which is a hot chocolate with whipped cream and a hearty shot of rum, which is perfect all day being done the Christmas market.
This hot chocolate is decadent and alcoholic. It has whipped cream on the top and a healthy splash of Bacardi rum.
The chocolate version of Glühwein.
Wow, that is a large shot of rum. That cuts right through. That is Christmas in a cup.
A good shot of rum.
It's liquid Christmas.
And back out the door by 4 p.m. for two reasons. Firstly, all the lights come on, and secondly, because in Hamburg they have a flying Santa that goes through the air. Well, truth be told, he's on a wire above the market, but it feels a little bit Disney-ish in a small way. He goes by at 4 p.m, 6 p.m, and 8 p.m, so time your visit. Hamburg is a lovely place to visit the Christmas markets and does them in such a big way. But we do have an important recommendation to you. Don't get there too early, because across Europe, mostly the Christmas markets don't even open until 11 a.m, so no point getting off the ship at 8 or 9. And just as important is that, you want to see everything in both daylight and as the sun sets, as the markets really do begin to shine and twinkle and come into their own in the evening. If your cruise departure time permits, the best time to be at the markets is between 1 p.m. until about 5 or 6, so you straddle both daylight and the night time. Just make sure you don't miss your cruise leaving without you. As we steamed into the night sky and headed across the North Sea, it was the last Gala night, and it gave us a chance to reflect on the cruise. I have to say we really enjoyed this one. It was the first time for a couple of years that we'd been on a dedicated Christmas cruise in a cold climate. And I tell you what, we absolutely loved it. The atmosphere aboard is so festive, so happy, and full of good memories. I think it's because Christmas brings out the best in everyone. People are already happy before they start. Add to that, the ships look even more pretty at Christmas, and it makes for a fabulous mix. And during our cruise, there was a delightful young couple getting married on board. Here we can see them on the dance floor. And it's a great example of how multi-generations can take a cruise, and there's something for everyone. And if you haven't sailed with Cunard before, it's a great time to do it. It shows them at their best. Cunard has always been what you call a traditional cruise line, and Christmas is made for traditional times, so it's a logical match. Now, as for the ship itself, the Queen Anne, what do we think? Remembering that it's the second time we've been aboard in just 5 months. Well, think of it as Cunard's way of bringing their product to a wider, perhaps new audience. They now have 4 ships in the fleet, and this one is by far the most modern of them all. Now, like any new ship, it will have its fans and its detractors. Some people feel it's strayed too far from the Cunard heritage and the history and Art Deco of their other 3 ships, that the Queen Anne has gone too mainstream. But on the opposing side, there are others who welcome this fresh look and feel. Now, some venues on the Queen Anne do shine. The bright lights is a great addition. We really enjoy that and think it's a lot of fun. And other venues around the ship we really like, such as the library. Whilst small, it does have a fabulous spot at the top of the ship with some really comfy seats. And then, down at the bottom of the ship, there's the drawing room, also an absolute delight. It's like a suite facility without paying the charge of being in one. And the Queen Anne also has some alternate restaurants. Now, we didn't cover them here in this video, but we did in our earlier review of the ship, and you can watch those. And then there's the Commodore Club, right at the top. It continues to be a fabulous venue. So few ships these days have an observation lounge anymore, or at least one that has access to all. And here, it's really well designed. It's spacious, it's classy, with views front and center. But as in life, nothing is perfect, and the Queen Anne does have some issues. We'll just name a few of them. First off, the Queen's Room. It's really not Cunard's best design, and there are several issues with it. It's been shrunk down, there's often not enough seating, and it very much has a corridor-style, people walking through feel to it. But perhaps the one point we feel most worth mentioning is with dining, and specific reference to the Britannia dining room. Now, as 90% of passengers on board dine in here, they really need to get it right. And the problem is the food is not consistent. It has this weird habit of being brilliant one day, and then inexplicably poor the next. Also, long lines and timekeeping. But in general, apart from these issues, we were really happy with the Christmas cruise. And as we strolled through the ship on that final evening, I tell you what, we slightly got goosebumps because it brought back to us all that we love about cruising. No, the ship isn't perfect, but cruising is a chance to relax, be yourself, and do what makes you happy, whether it be dancing on the floor, joining in the grooves, or just strolling around the public areas, admiring the Christmas villages that have been set up all around the ship. It's what makes travelling at Christmas just that little bit magical. And the last evening, we walked, we looked, and we smiled. And at the very end, we popped in one last time to the Golden Lion pub, where an Irish band was serenading everybody into the night. It was a poignant and memorable final moment.
Everybody, the boys from the NYPD choir still singing Galway Bay, and the bells were ringing out on Christmas Day.
Happy Christmas, everybody, and wishing you the best of New Year's and the forthcoming 2025. Wishing you lots of laughter, happiness, good luck, and health, because we could all do with some of that. It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us. Now, don't forget, we have that comparison video coming up very shortly where we pit all 4 of the Cunard Queens against each other. You'll want to see that because whilst we really enjoyed the Queen Anne, she's not perfect. There are issues, And in that comparison video, I'll go through what they are and which of the 4 Cunard ships may be best suited to you. Because they all have their quirks, they're not all the same, and picking the right one could make the difference between you enjoying your voyage or not. That video, depending on when you're watching this, is either already out or coming soon. It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us. So many videos for you to catch up on the channel. You can watch some of them here, and indeed, you can watch some of them here, and we'll see you in one of those.